Hey guys, so have you been to famous monuments where you would see these hearts with two people's names written on it? I'd be the person scribbling this instead of that. For years, we've experienced music through our ears by closing our eyes and imagining what the song would look like. Fast forward to now, in an age where human beings are born with headphones in their ears, we don't just experience music with our ears, but also our screens that are little windows to huge universes. Our songs are not just audio anymore. Our music is not just what we hear. It's so much more about the band that makes it, what they wear, what they eat, what they believe in, what they post on social media, obviously. The humble album artwork and the music video turned into something so much more complex like VR experiences. A great example of that is this, a music video made for When Chai Met Toast called Fight. The entire aesthetic of this was imagined keeping in mind that this was going to carry forward for the next 6 months. So this band had to dress up and also have the same setup throughout wherever they performed. And we gave out these stickers everywhere. So they were known for these colors for the next few months. It's safe to say that art and design helps us visualize sound much more easily. Hi, my name is Mehak Malhotra. That photo might haunt you tonight. That's one of the creepy kids from horror movies. Me wearing headphones, and me still wearing headphones now. India is an interesting mix of culture, language, geography, people, and obviously food and music. Essentially music. I have grown up being an army kid, and I've lived in almost everywhere in the country. And I always wanted to use this education of culture into my work, and that's why I picked music. Music is essentially one of the most important things people use to communicate. We're living in an age where EDM producers want to tap into folk Rajasthani instruments to create sound samples, which is very interesting, because imagine Skrillex playing something that resembles like a Garba tune. It's possible. So artists are diving back into their roots to bring in so much more color and charm into the sound. Now, music and art are not just limited to songs. Have you ever wondered how music and art could create an entire experience? A great example of this is a jazz bar in Delhi called the Bar Cat. It's got the entire aesthetic of a 1920s bar, the Gatsby era, from the stage to the song, sounds, to the menu, and even the drinks. Everything resembles what the 1920s would reflect. So they just played jazz. They're very dedicated towards that. Now music is not just going to be about experiences or songs. You also brand people and companies that make music. Surreal is one of the oldest DJs of the country. He started an organization, a company that samples sounds that other artists can use to create the next big soundtrack. So the idea behind this branding, it's called Real Duty Beats. When you see vegetables and fruits in the morning at vendors, you would see them coming in crates. And the entire idea of that being that you would see fresh or something like that stenciled out on these things. So I use the idea of using those as the raw material to make, tasty food, and this as a raw material to make amazing sound, and that's how this was the outcome. Now coming down to more interesting developments in design and music, album art was probably like a static artwork when you would imagine Beatles, Rolling Stones. But now since everything moves, in a world where everything is in motion, you can't afford to be static. So this is a great example of how an album artwork can move. Just blink it. The best way to experience music is through music festivals, obviously. This is a music festival in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. It's called Fangirl. The entire palette for this festival was borrowed from the local colors of Gujarat, the Kutch region. And that's when we realized that when you present something that's so local and so used to, that people are seeing every day, but you present it in such a new and fresh way. We use Devanagari, so it makes people much more comfortable with it. This intrigued a lot of people, and we had so many people attending the festival. Even old people came to listen to Skrillex. So yeah. Now when you say that album art is not just about a visual, this is an example of a 3-song EP by an artist called Mojo Jojo, not from Powerpuff Girls, but. So what the idea behind this was that we had 3 songs to depict a journey from the first song to the last song. So the first song is about sapne. So when you dream, you have a vivid palette and imagination. And when you actually start to realize that you have to pursue these dreams, you feel akela. And then when you actually come to the point where you have to go do this, you do main chala, and that's when you have so much more color and disco balls around you. Sometimes music demands designed to simplify it or break it down for people. What happens in this case is that there's this super complicated song that came to us, and what we had to do was break it down for the people to understand that these lyrics are important. So the lyric video for Raghav Miatal's One-Sided Stories was essentially made on matchboxes because the album was called Songs from a Matchbox. And what we did was we put in these small Easter eggs throughout the video, like you would see MRP, attention plus GST, and MRP, big statues, MRP, trust plus GST. So the idea was to put across a message that was anti-establishment, but in a way that people would come back to this video every single time and find newer details. It's really good to say that human beings are moving towards more wholesome experiences. Now, when you want to know the weather, you'd be like, hey Siri, what's the weather like? And you would hear rain and also see rain falling on your screen. That's magical, right? So we're all moving towards the starting of something super magical, and I cannot even express how excited I am to see the future of visual sound. Thank you.